All right, good Thursday evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. Hope everyone's doing well today. It is January 8th, year of our Lord 2026. We are tracking a potentially significant snow event for a small portion of the area. Unfortunately for us here in Amarillo, if you're hoping for a really meaningful amount of snow, does not look like that's going to be the case this go around. But we still will probably have some snow. It just won't be that much. In fact, it's probably not even going to be enough to spark an advisory for Potter and Randall County. Currently not under an advisory at this point in time, but we'll get to those here in a little bit. That upper level low that's going to bring again that snow continues to spin there over northern Arizona. This thing's going to continue to kind of track to the east southeast for the next 12 hours or so, and then it's going to track basically right across the North Texas Panhandle and then lift back up into the Midwest. So the northern section of the Panhandle is going to be the areas we think that are best favored for that precipitation at this point in time. There could be some very minor changes to the forecast, but I think we're pretty well kind of locked in and set in stone at this point. This is a live look outside in Channing. You can see clear skies out there. The wind's much calmer on the north side of the Panhandles compared to the south side. And those temperatures kind of varying depending on where you're at. It's in the 50s for the northern half of the region, 49 in Clayton, and then 60s and 70s as you get down south of I-40. Those stronger winds mainly down in the south row of counties from eastern New Mexico back to Palmer Castro all the way to Childress County and Cottle County. They were pretty strong this morning here in Amarillo, but they have started to subside. So here's those alerts for tomorrow. The winter storm warning goes into effect tonight, going to run until 8 p.m. Friday. The advisory is going to affect early in the morning and will run until midnight on Saturday, early in the morning. So about 24 hours or so. Notice again, Amarillo not included in that, meaning that snow accumulations for us, if they were to happen, will probably be less than 1 inch. Let's go ahead and run through that computer model real quick. Again, it has shifted back north with this next system. You can see that band of snow setting in pretty early before sunrise on the northwest side of the area. Dalhart down to 30 degrees, 25 in Clayton. So pretty moderate snow up there associated with that as well. And just notice, again, 6 hours later, you guys still dealing with a pretty good snow event up there. And then seeing some of that snow start to develop out there in Texas County and parts of western Beaver County, Perryton and North Ochiltree County, seeing a little bit of that snow. If we're going to see any here in Amarillo, it's probably going to be tomorrow afternoon between 2 p.m. and 6 o'clock in the evening. It'll be more of like a squall line than it will a full-fledged band of heavy snow. It's going to be just a probably pretty quick round for us. Don't expect it to produce much snowfall, maybe an inch at most, but probably will be less than that, somewhere around just a few tenths of an inch. So just enough to kind of cover everything. It should melt pretty quick. The big concern in areas that do see a meaningful amount of winter weather tomorrow will be that refreeze afterwards. So if you, again, are having some travel impacts throughout the day, could still see some of those lingering into Saturday morning, especially for areas where it melts off the roads are wet, and then these temperatures tumble down into the teens and then maybe even the single digits up in Union County. It's going to get really cold, so a refreeze of some of that melted snow is very likely up there north of the Canadian River Valley. And that's where we would have that issue maybe for some early morning slick roadways, some bridges and overpasses potentially being slick as well. And then we'll be chilly on Saturday, likely only going to get back up into the 30s and 40s for those temperatures. Let's take a look at those wind gusts for the rest of tonight. Again, you can see that low starting to make its way through, kind of centered between Dumas and Amarillo there at noon on Friday. Strong winds associated with that band of snow up in the northwest. Not quite blizzard conditions, but it is going to create some very low visibility down below a quarter mile in some places. And we're probably going to see some blowing snow also on top of that. So even if it may not be snowing continually, if you get 4 or 5 inches there on the ground and then the winds are blowing 30 miles an hour, could certainly still lead to some reduced visibility. So we're just keep that in mind. Probably going to see some travel impacts for most of the day Friday up in the northwest towards Clayton and Boise City. Strong winds late in the evening here in the Amarillo area. Very little snow accumulation, if any, down in the southeast. So this is the forecast for right now. You can see there are some changes from what we had yesterday. We're growing more confident that that heavy band is going to set up probably somewhere up here around the Highway 54 corridor, maybe a little bit further to the northwest. Right now we have that 6 to 10 inch swath from Des Moines over towards about Boise City. There are a few models that do have that kind of down the 54 corridor from Dalhart to Guyman. That may be something to keep an eye on. Right now, I think it's kind of a safe play to say that you guys will see about 3 to 6 inches of snow up there. But there are a few outlier models and maybe some of those higher resolution models that are coming in a little bit more aggressive, where we could see some swaths of 6 to 10 inches of snow in some localized areas up there. Here in Amarillo, this will probably be a very unimpactful event. Just very quick hitting round of snow in the afternoon, maybe very limited visibility when the kids are getting out from school. Outside of that, probably not as much of an issue for travel concerns for us. But as you get up on the other side of the Canadian River, that's where you're going to have some more moisture to work with. That's where the snow is going to persist for much longer. Accumulations more and more likely. Snow covered roads becoming more and more likely the further northwest you go. So here's those travel impacts we anticipate for Friday, especially for the morning commute and the midday commute. If you're in Dalhart to Guyman and northwest of there, expecting at least some moderate travel issues. It's going to slow you down. I would prepare for some delays. There could be some road closures, especially on the roads that aren't maintained as well as the major highways. For Amarillo, we're not putting us into minor travel impacts at this point in time. Just don't think we're going to see enough winter weather for it to be a big burden. Vega and Tucumcari might. Again, that strong north wind could allow for a narrow corridor of snow to try and set up there down I-40. It might include Amarillo. I just don't, it's again, temperature is going to be probably around 32, 35 degrees when it's snowing. So it's going to be melting on contact, but there's maybe a better opportunity for areas out here to see that band of snow set up on the southern rim of the Canadian River Valley. But we may see that extend all the way towards Amarillo too. There's just a bit more of uncertainty on if that's going to verify, where maybe we have some more prolonged snowfall for a couple of hours in the afternoon. Here's a look at your tomorrow night low temperatures. This is Friday night into Saturday morning. So this is after the snow is cleared on out. This will be the next thing to keep an eye on. Notice down into the low double digits with that north wind, it's going to feel brutal. I mean, we're talking about single digit wind chills, probably near zero north of the Canadian River. For Amarillo, probably low single digits, and we'll end up seeing some teens for your wind chills in the southeast. It's going to be a really nasty start to your Saturday morning. Probably don't want to spend much time outside. That's kind of what we're expecting for the start of the day. And again, it will be a chilly end of the afternoon too. We're only going to climb up back into the 40s for those temperatures Saturday. So you can notice that, again, we do have the weather alert day tag up here on top of Friday. Again, this is really for the northern section of the panhandles. This probably won't include Amarillo for those high impact snow amounts. This is for areas like Dalhart, for potentially Dumas, Stratford, Guyman, Boise City, Clayton, New Mexico. All of those areas can probably expect some moderate impacts from this event throughout the day tomorrow. It's going to be a pretty moderate to heavy band of snow. Snow to liquid ratio will be probably pretty low. It's going to be kind of wet. It could be heavy at times. If you start getting to that 8, 9, 10 inches of snow, snow loading could start becoming a bit of an issue. Again, we don't really have any leaves or anything on the trees anymore. And again, there's, I would, maybe some poor structures, things like abandoned buildings might be susceptible to some snow loading that aren't maintained, things like that. So your low pitch roofs, especially on the weaker structures, might get a little bit cumbersome with that snow load on top of them, where you're getting close to that 10 inches of snow accumulation. But that shouldn't be a big issue. The low visibility and the slick roads are going to be your main concerns. And then the refreeze Friday night into Saturday morning. That's all I've got for you guys this afternoon. Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. If things change, we'll let you know. Right now, I would expect probably some very minor snow amounts in the Amarillo, not enough to be a big issue. If it's going to snow, it'll probably snow after lunchtime for us, closer to that evening drive home.